everyone, welcome to the video. We're continuing the junior golf birdie business discussions, and I'm here joined by our new director of competitions with the Northern Ohio PGA, Mat Ruttman. He's just joined on last January, or this January, and he's filling in some spots. As everyone probably knows, is that everyone in the Northern Ohio PGA is filling in new roles because Dominic and Eileen, our executive director, and Eileen Antonucci, who was our junior golf director, retired after 20 years of service, which is a great deal for our junior golf program, as they were pretty much the ones that created the Kenny Novak Tour Championship. They were both at Club Walden when Kenny Novak gave his life to save others, and we're now in our 37th year of the Kenny Novak program, but they've been in the golf business since then and have been with the section for about 20 plus years. So we appreciate what they've done, but we're starting a new chapter with the Northern Ohio PGA, and that involves Mat Ruttman. Matt, why don't you tell everyone about yourself and what you're about?
Sure, yeah. And just to echo what Brad said about Dominic and Eileen, before I tell you a little bit about myself, a quick little story about Dominic. I was before I was ever in the golf business, I had a meeting with Dominic. I just called him out of the blue, and he welcomed me to his desk and his table and kind of gave me the rundown of kind of, if you're going to be in this business, here's some things you need to do. And I've always looked up to him for that, and I've sort of taken that under my wing and sort of did exactly what he told me to do, and it's gotten me to where I am now. So Dominic, if you happen to watch this, thank you very much. But I'm Mat Ruttman. As Brad said, I am the new director of competitions for the Northern Ohio PGA section. I am originally from South Carolina. I'm a big Clemson Tiger fan. So sorry for all you Buckeye fans out there, but I'm a big Clemson Tiger fan as it pertains to football. Grew up in South Carolina. My whole family still lives in South Carolina. I'm the only person who lives here in Ohio. I got to Ohio, fortunately, through my wife. She lives in Ohio. She's lived in Ohio her whole life. I met her through her cousin, anyway, long story short. And her in the golf business brought me to Ohio. I started out my golf career in Hilton Head Island in South Carolina. I worked at Defusky Island, Hegg Point Golf Club, a private island off the coast of Hilton Head Island. Then I moved my way to Southern Ohio at Sycamore Creek Country Club. And then I was most recently at Westwood Country Club over in Rocky River for the past 9 years. I was head golf professional there for a while before I got signed on with the section. Growing up, golf was something that my dad did, and I really didn't play a whole lot of golf growing up. I was more of a baseball and football player. I actually played college football for Charleston Southern University before I ever played golf. But golf bit me shortly after college because I started playing with my dad and really fell in love with the game, and really just fell in love with all the things around the game, the people and the places and the things that you could do as it pertains to golf. So I've been in the business for probably 15 years. I've been a PGA member for 10 years, coming up soon here, 10 years. And so that's kind of what got me to where I'm at now. How about you, Brad? You've been with the section a couple years. And for those that don't know Brad, he's been with our section a couple years, 2 years, and this is his third full year, first full year as junior golf director. Brad, tell us a little bit of your background.
Yeah. I'm a Northeast Ohio born and raised, Akron kid. Just started playing golf when I was 13. My grandpa got me in the game, supported everything that I did with it. He was the one that was there ready to yell at me when I shank a shot or anything like that, but then he was always there to help me through a bad round too. So I started working in the golf business at 16, got hired as an outdoor bag boy, or in the more professional name at Silver Lake as an outdoor service executive. So I worked there since I was ever able to actually work. So come 3 years ago, I was going through college. I graduated from Walsh University, got my degree in exercise science and psychology, and community clinical psychology. Decided I really liked what I was doing, trying to continue on with the exercise science side of it. Did a couple internships with the YMCA and worked on some personal training stuff, but then just so happened as a junior golfer, got an email for them looking for an intern, which is something that we still do. We do hire seasonal junior golf staff, and we have a couple great seasonal interns, is what we technically call them every once in a while. But so I ended up jumping on that, interviewed with Dominic Eileen, David Griffith, who's now our executive director, and Lynn Plaisance, who's now our director of operations, and happened to get a job. And luckily, lucky for me, there was an opening in the future, and ended up jumping in as a junior golf tournament director probably about 2 years ago. And that was my first year full time. And then obviously with Eileen and Dominic retiring, we were all assumed new roles, and that's when I took over the junior golf director position and player development. I should probably add something about Dominic and Eileen. When we had a retirement party for them, I bawled my eyes out because they have been in my life ever since I started playing in the junior tour, and have been supportive of every junior golfer coming through Northern Ohio in any way that they can. And I think everyone that is in the game from playing in the junior tour is in debt to both of them for what they have done. If it weren't for them, I don't think we would be doing what we do at a local level for sure. So really appreciate what they do, and I don't think we can ever say enough about them. So yeah, I filled in that role for the junior golf director position. I actually worked at Silver Lake through that internship as well. So I worked both, and just ended up, obviously, when I took on this full-time role, I parted ways with Silver Lake, but it's definitely something that's really kept me in the game for my whole life. So I've worked there from 16 years old all the way up to 22 years old. So something that's special. I've worked at Chipotle. I was in a band for a little while, and we toured for a while, went to California, stuff like that. And it was really fun to do. But golf is my passion, and I'm really glad that I was able to find a spot in Northern Ohio to continue my passion for golf and provide all the juniors the opportunity to keep playing golf. So I guess now that now I ended my long-winded explanation of myself, I just want to jump in with a couple questions about Matt. Obviously, we do have some junior golfers that have met me before that have played in our tour in the past. So that's why we felt it was important to introduce myself as well. If you're ones that haven't played in before or have not met me. But obviously we want to introduce everyone else to Matt, since he's filling in this role, and he's going to be at every junior golf event with me as well, along with our seasonal junior golf staff. So just a couple fun questions that we wanted to ask you, Matt. What are some greatest accomplishments that you've made in the game and your life? I mean, you can kind of give like a couple, or just explain one in golf game and one in your life that you're pretty proud of.
Sure. Well, in life, I have 3 kids. I have a 7-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 7-month-old. And so I'd be wrong if I didn't say those are my greatest accomplishments in my life. That and marrying my wife. Obviously, without her, I wouldn't have them. So in my life, it's easy to say that my kids are my greatest accomplishment. In golf, becoming a PGA member was something that was a great accomplishment of mine. My path to my golf career was totally different than most people that do what I do or what I used to do at the private club level. Most people play the game growing up and have a PGA mentor in their life, or someone that shows them the ropes of how to become a PGA member, whereas I got into the business because I love the game and I love the people. And I started at the ground level of an outside service attendant and worked my way up all the way through the PGA program in my own time. I completed the program in about 18 months, and some guys it takes about 6 years to do so. Actually, you have about 6 years to complete the program. You did, at least when I went through it. So becoming a PGA member is one of the greatest accomplishments I've had in the game of golf, just because it was something I had to do, I wanted to do to get to where I am in my career, and obviously it's led me to where I am now.
Yeah, I think that's something that's really special, and obviously with your passion, I think that's something that needed to be done too. I mean, because obviously if you ever want to advance to the levels that we're at, it's important to get that certification and really show value to yourself as well in the golf business. I'm obviously a PGA Associate. I'm going through the program now. I started back in January, and hopefully trying to get through it as quick as Matt did. But it's definitely impressive for him to be able to get through it that quick in under 2 years. So obviously, like Matt said, it's usually takes some people 6 years, but even now, after you start level 1, there's 3 levels. You actually have 8 years to do it. So they're even more lax about it now, but obviously you want to try to go through all that programming as quick as possible. And it's definitely a good bragging point too, to get through it in under 2 years, because you have to go through seminars for each one, and it's some tough stuff, but it's a really good information and stuff that even if you didn't stay in the business, you could even transfer over to other businesses as well. So
yeah, it was always explained to me as if going through the PGA program was getting your bachelor's and master's kind of all in one, obviously pertaining to golf.
yeah.
So that's sort of the curriculum that you have to go through was equal to a bachelor's or a master's level of any kind of other education.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think it's some cool stuff, and I just went through the first seminar for level 1, and it's definitely very informative. And even no matter how much you like golf, you're still going to learn more than you ever knew about golf going through this program. So obviously, with us at the Northern Ohio PGA, we're more than happy to help any junior that's interested in getting in the business or looking to get in the game in some way other than playing professionally. So we're obviously here to help no matter what. So yeah, those are some great accomplishments, Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of jump into another question. I guess a lot of people like to see what people assume that PGA professionals and other professional golfers have many hole-in-ones. I have a total of 0, but I was curious, Matt, how many do you have?
I have a grand total of one hole-in-one, and it actually came on it was a par 3 golf course in Myrtle Beach called Tupelo Bay. I went to golf school. I went to golf academy at Myrtle Beach. Is kind of how I got my jump start into a golf career. And it was a financially a good hole-in-one, meaning we had 20 guys in a $50 skins game, made it for the only skin for the whole day. So it was a beneficial hole-in-one. Let's put it that way. So 50 times 20. I'll let you guys do the math, but that's what I won for that hole-in-one that day. I've 3 times to the date flown the golf ball in the hole on the fly on a championship golf course, but it's never stayed in. It's either careened out or bounced out or ended up somewhere close to the hole. But I still was able to write one on the scorecard, and I profited from that one that I had.
Not many people can say that, so that's pretty special for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's a good time to mention for us too with a hole-in-one. If you're a junior tour member and you get a hole-in-one at our events, we take your scorecard and we'll actually create a hole-in-one plaque for you for that event. And with Titleist partnering up with us, we actually are going to provide golf balls to a junior that gets a hole-in-one during one of our events as well. So we got hole-in-one prizes for doing that as well. So unfortunately, I've been close, but I haven't actually gotten one. The closest I've ever been was when I was trying out for high school, and I was playing at Maple Crest Golf Course. Unfortunately, it doesn't exist anymore, but I was playing a uphill par 3, about 200 yards, took a little 6-iron and completely thinned the ball right at the hole. It landed probably 40 yards short of the green and rolled another 60 yards and stopped an inch from the hole. So that's the closest I've ever been, but I'm actually quite proud of a albatross that I have had at Maple Crest still. Fortunately, I can't prove the hole that we had, but I think it was about a 550-yard par 5, and it was the 9th hole, and it goes up and to the left, and then your second shot is a blind shot over a hill, and it comes back down and into the green towards the clubhouse. So I went driver 3-wood, and I don't think I've ever hit a 3-wood as good as I ever hit this 3-wood. So I hit this, and I obviously I don't know what happened on the other side, but I knew it was a good one. It was going to be on the green, which unfortunately there was a group on the green, so that was interesting. But I had to apologize. It ended up landing short, is what the guys told me, and it rolled up and went in the hole. So some pretty cool stuff, but I think it's hard for me to believe it sometimes when there's a group on the green that says it happened. But so it's fun though. Maple Crest was a fun course. It was our home course for my school, so we played it a lot.
It's interesting. You know, you just commented on one of your best shots you've ever hit, and probably not one of your least, one of your lesser quality shots, and both of them, one of them went in, and one of them almost went in. It's just one of the glorious things about this game. Bad shots can beat good shots sometimes.
Oh yeah. I mean, my dad almost got a hole-in-one one time when he's not a golfer by any means. So we went out once, and it was at like Paradise Lakes, and there was a par 3, and he hit a shot and went about 60 yards right, hit a tree, landed an inch from the hole. So it's just really, really funny to see the things that happen when you hit a bad shot, for sure. So I usually like to laugh at him. I never really get mad at him anymore. So
yeah.
But yeah, so speaking of bad shots, I guess that's a good way to transition into my next question, which is your favorite shot in your bag that has gotten you out of trouble probably too many times.
Well, I mean, I guess I could qualify. I could say it like this. I could say the shot that's gotten me out of trouble is I'm pretty good at hitting the golf ball high. So hitting an iron, or hitting something over a tree, through a little gap, through a window, is sort of like the first place that I look when most people are looking low, because I have a tendency to be able to elevate the golf ball pretty quickly. So I'm always looking up, trying to find the way out. Whereas it's a little more difficult for me to flight the golf ball down through a lot of trouble. But to go a little further, I will say that my short game is what keeps me in rounds of golf. So even if I'm hitting it bad, or not hitting greens, or just not really striking the golf ball very solid, I feel that if a player's short game is sharp, then they're going to be the better player no matter what quality of golf that they play. Whether you're a 30 handicap, tends to be the better short game players at 30 handicap level or the scratch level typically always end up at the top of the leaderboard. So my short game and my imagination around the greens tend to save my rounds, whereas hitting the golf ball high can tend to get me out of trouble.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's interesting that you're saying hitting the golf ball high, because mine was always hitting the golf ball low. Obviously, with a lot of the courses in this area in Northeast Ohio, there's a lot of trees. And my drives used to enjoy finding those heavily wooded areas. So over time, I knew it's pretty funny. It was bad reasoning for me as a kid to do this when I should have really just worked on my driver. But I spent a lot of time practicing on my punch shots and how to shape them. So there was a lot of the time when I was playing in high school that no matter where I was on the golf course, if I put my drive anywhere, like 100 yards to the right, 100 yards to the left, I could hook it right back over like Bubba Watson. Was it the Masters when it wasn't the Master? Was it?
Yeah, it was the Masters.
Yeah. It was the Masters, yeah. So when he did that crazy 90-degree hook shot, that's the kind of stuff that I really enjoyed practicing. So obviously my short game suffered. So, but I was really good at those punch shots to really get around trees and get back into the fairway at least. And sometimes I've even hooked it like 30 yards left and was able to roll it up onto the green a couple times and get on a regulation. But that's the stuff that really got me out of trouble. But obviously maybe I should work on hitting my drives a little more straight too.
Well, there's something to be said about curving the golf ball, because if you could teach someone how to curve it one way and then the other way, and then they really learning how to use the tool in their hand, and they are a little better cognizant of which way how they're swinging when they're on the golf course too. If they can understand how to make it curve both ways. So from a teacher standpoint, if you're working on that, to me, that's a great thing, because you're learning how to use the golf club properly to to curve it one way or the other way.
Yeah, and being able to keep it low at the same time too. I think
Right.
that's something that's pretty important for some players too, especially when you're getting into windy conditions too. So
For
uh,
sure.
I think it was pretty enjoyable to be able to practice those though on the range. Though I would go out there and set two alignment sticks out there about a foot apart, and I would try to hit it through the alignment sticks and then let it hook after. So I tried to get it to go out straight to where the point where I knew I wasn't going to hit the tree, and then it would hook out after. So that was the stuff that I really tried to focus on when I was doing that. But yeah, so those were fun.
Yeah.
So I guess the last question I want to jump into is just any tips that you have for any junior golfers that are listening, anything related to kind of growing in the game or how to get into the business. Just kind of some information about that, and then we'll kind of go into some stuff about our junior golf tour.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think anyone that likes the game of golf uh, would most high percentage of people would say it's more fun to play with somebody else. And so we can never be short of golfers. And I like to tell people that you don't have to play competitive golf to start golf. You don't have to play all 18 holes to start golf. You can play from 150-yard marker and in. But I would like to encourage people to introduce somebody to golf. If you're a junior golfer out there and mom doesn't play, or dad doesn't play, or your sisters or brothers don't play, invite them to play, and then let them start by just putting for you, or putting with you, or anything to get a club in their hand, or anything to get them to hit that one shot that's going to always bring you back. We all know what that's like. We've all heard that that's played the game for a while. But growing the game is something that I think is important for all of us that play golf, because if we don't grow the game, if we don't continue to have golfers play the game, golf will go away. The unfortunate fact that the property or the real estate that golf courses are on is probably more valuable as housing or commercial development. That's a true fact. But if we can keep playing golf, we have ways to pay for these golf courses to be in existence, then we all can enjoy this game, as we say, for a lifetime. As far as getting into the golf business, if it's something that you feel like you enjoy, obviously becoming a PGA member is in my opinion, the best way to do that. It's going to open your doors up for more avenues of opportunities for internships, for any kind of entry level positions or any kind of advanced positions. The people that have PGA behind their name, their resumes are going to get bumped to the top of the stack quicker than the ones that don't. So becoming a PGA member is very important. All of us at the section can point those of you that are interested in that in the right way, in the right direction. There's also PGA, PGM universities out there, so you can still go to school and get your bachelor's degree and still come out on the other side a Class A member. So there are opportunities for that as well. And that's one of the best ways, in my opinion, to become a PGA member, because throughout your experience, you do get to have all those internships at different locations and different facilities and kind of get your feet wet into what type of facility you may want to land in, because some people may want to do the private side, some people like the public side, and some people might like the resort side, or there's a number of things that going to a PGA, PGM university could bring to you. So that to me is growing the business is very important, or growing the game is very important for everyone that plays the game. And as far as getting into the business, becoming a PGA member is a very vital part of that.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And like you're saying with the PGM schools, it also helps you create those connections that you could have that
Absolutely.
these students that you're going to school with, they could be across the nation, they could be across the world in the next couple of years. So I think it's very interesting it's very helpful to be able to go through that and make those connections and really get to know these people and really immerse yourself in that program. There is the program, you are able to go through it. If you don't want to go to a college, you can always go through the program yourself, and
Right.
it's all online, but you do have to go to seminars for each level. I think that's still special because you can create those connections. With everything going on, I actually did an online seminar for my level 1, and I was still able to make those connections with those guys through just chatting with them and just kind of getting to know where they're from in those Google Meets seminars that we did. But I think it's some real special stuff, and I think it's regardless of what you do in the business or outside of the business, it's still stuff that can transfer anywhere. Business planning, uh, facility operations, and stuff like that. It's a lot of really cool stuff, and you can learn a lot about a golf club and about in a seminar and going through this program too. So, and just how to fit for them. So I think it's really cool, and forgot where I was going to go with that. But yeah, it's fun. But yeah, so you can take your PAT if you play in college. You can use your college scores to pass the PAT. It's a playing ability test, and that's something you have to do as well. Obviously, as a PGA professional, you gotta play well too. So any guidance that we can help you get to that level to be able to pass the PAT and to continue your career in golf, we're more than happy to help.
For sure. And like you said, Brad, anybody that's interested in internships and volunteer work to kind of see what it's like from the tournament management side of things, I think that we'd be always welcoming anyone that has questions on that, or anyone that maybe want to hang out with us for a day to kind of see what it's like for us to run an event from start to finish. We would welcome all that, whether it be at our junior tour level, or even at our section events. Now, we would welcome anybody watching to come and volunteer and watch us do what we do from start to finish, or for half the day or whatever, just to kind of see if you like this side of the business as well.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. We're more than happy to help and let you see what we do. Obviously, people don't see outside of showing up, teeing off, and scoring and leaving. They don't see everything else that happens behind the scenes. So it's something that could really draw some interest for some juniors.
For sure.
Before we jump into a couple of things about our junior tour, I just wanted to give a tip too about getting in the game and getting ready is just play golf. Like you're saying, don't be afraid to invite someone else to play with you. It's never bad to play with someone that can't play a full hole or anything like that. I found it rewarding. I had a buddy that I actually taught how to play golf with me by bringing him out to the golf course with me. And it's great to see how much he has improved over the past couple years since I started golfing with him. And we started in high school, and now he's still playing now. So you're getting people in the game that they're not going to play competitively, but they're going to have fun doing it. And I think that's the most important thing. But you also don't be afraid to play by yourself too. It's okay to go out and practice and play by yourself as well. And don't be afraid to play with someone that you don't know. They say, well, hey, we only have an open tee time that has 2 people in it, and we're more than happy to pair you in there. Do it. You can learn so much about that person. You can learn so much about their game and how they play. And honestly, I mean, you could find a job from those people, I mean, you never know who you're talking to, and you never know who's watching. So it's sometimes your golf round could turn into an interview too. So it's definitely a fun sport. And I don't think in football you could go and have an interview with someone while you're playing. So it's
No,
tough. So
kind of tough with a helmet on.
yeah. Yeah. So I just think it's a cool sport and something you can do for pretty much the rest of your life. So as long as you can keep swinging, keep doing it. So, but anyways, let's jump into some things about what we're planning for this year. Obviously, with everything going on with COVID-19, we wanted to kind of inform some people about what we're doing and just kind of go forward with that. Obviously, we're optimistic that we'll be starting soon. We have been coming up with policies and procedures, and you can find all of that on our website, and we'll link it into the video below as well, just so you can access that easily. But we are trying to make it as safe as possible for every junior golfer to play a round of golf and play tournament golf throughout the summer without being at high risk of catching this virus. So, Matt, do you want to jump in with a couple things and kind of go from there, and we can just kind of touch base about what we're doing with our junior tour as well?
Sure. I mean, like Brad said, we've spent the last couple of weeks developing what we call playbooks for operations, not only for competitors in our events, but also the facilities that we're going to host these events, for us, and the way that we expect things to be managed and ran from a sanitation standpoint, from a social distancing standpoint for the facility, as well as the competitors that are showing up. As Brad said, we have The facility playbook, as we call it, that's on our website. So is our junior tour and our section tour playbooks are on our website. Some of the things that we're going to do that are different than the normal procedures that you used to do at an event is eliminating the first tee handshakes, eliminating the changing over the scorecards. The facilities are not going to have rakes or ball washers or water coolers or any of those other extra touch points on the golf course are going to be eliminated. We're going to have a condition of competition in for leaving the flag stick in, and we're going to have a ball retrieval system for getting the golf ball out. So things are going to be put in place. All that stuff is listed on our playbook that you can find on our website. But it's going to be everyone's responsibility, our staff-wise and competitor-wise, to abide by these policies to keep everyone safe and to keep us continuing to be able to have these events. We're going to want everyone to read these, and we're going to have to make sure that you acknowledge that you are going to play by these conditions, just to keep yourself safe and everyone safe that is going to be attending or working or playing in these events that we're going to have.
Yeah. So it's everyone's responsibility, like Matt said. I think it's obviously what we do really depends on everyone following these rules. So if you're going to play in our events, make sure that you read it and understand what you need to do. We're not going to exchange scorecards. We're going to hand you someone else's scorecard. So you're still going to be scoring for someone else, but you're never going to hand that off to anyone else. So when you come into scoring, we'll have you verbally read off your scores to us. We'll have a TV set up to where you can see your scores on the TV, and we're going to ask you, do you approve of this score? And once you say yes and leave that scoring area, that score is signed for. So it's going to be a virtual scorecard signing, and you'll just throw your scorecard in a box, and we'll have that to reference to after, I think it's 48 hours. The virus lives on a box or something. So we would seal it and reopen it in 48 hours if there's any questions. So, but yeah, so we're trying to make it as safe as possible and limit all those touch points. And obviously with some golf courses in Ohio being open, we don't do anything much different from that other than like registration scoring on the first tee. So we're trying to get the green light to go and remaining optimistic about it. So first event is planned to be at Rutland Golf Club, or a golf course in Orrville, Ohio, right by the Smuckers plant. If you guys didn't know that, it's a nice family-owned golf course. We have good amount of tee times for it, and it's a really fun course to play. It's something that my grandpa always liked to take me down to play as one of those ones that he really enjoyed playing as well. So, but we'll be at Rutland Golf Course. We postponed Worcester Country Club. That was supposed to be on May 16th. We postponed that to May 28th. And then Trumbull Country Club has been postponed to May 30th, and that was supposed to be on the 3rd. So hopefully we can get started up on the 23rd and go from there. Actually, surprisingly enough, too, with everything going on, we actually haven't lost any events. We actually picked up 2 more events. So anybody in the Toledo area towards Sandusky and west side of Ohio, we are expanding a little more west, and we picked up Catawba Island at Port Clinton on June 3rd and Plumbrook Golf Country Club on June 20th. So that's in Sandusky. I think I said Catawba's in Port Clinton, and then Plumbrook's in Sandusky. So we're going a little more west this year. So if you're looking for some opportunities to play, and you're from the Toledo area, you won't have to drive too far to play anymore. So if you have any questions, Matt and I are always here. Our email is our first initial last name at pgahq.com. And yeah, we're more than happy to help. And if you have any questions during the season, just feel free to email us or give us a call. We're always here to help.